The other fight he wants is the grudge match, although it seems like everything in the welterweight division is a grudge match for Colby Covington. What up, Fightful fam, and welcome to this special UFC Vegas 11 post-fight edition of Fightful Fix. We're going to recap Colby Covington versus Tyron Woodley and all the star-making performances from Khamzat Chimaev to Mackenzie Dern. Before we get started, if you please could hit the subscribe button and tap the notification bell, that goes such a long way to helping the channel grow, and a like on this video never hurts either. On Saturday's main event, Colby Covington was cruising to a one-sided unanimous decision over Tyron Woodley before a rib injury forced the early TKO. Covington was on the ground in Woodley's guard. They were sort of against the fence, and Woodley was fishing for a guillotine choke. Some sort of shift or movement did not sit well with his body because it seems like he popped a rib. Woodley was yelling out in audible pain. The referee jumped in and stopped the fight, and that was it. Probably was going to be a unanimous decision for Covington, but he squeaks out a TKO, and you know he's going to milk that for everything that it's worth. Woodley's fight with Covington went, well, basically how Woodley's fights against Usman and Burns went. Woodley was pressured, backed against the cage, taken down, beat up, and that is 15 straight rounds that he lost or was losing before a stoppage. So where do these guys go from here? I think for Covington, he made his call outs, and I think they make perfect sense. You're either going to give him the winner of Usman versus Burns. That is the next fight for the UFC welterweight title. And he did say, should one of them drop out, he is prepared to jump in on short notice. The other fight he wants is the grudge match, although it seems like everything in the welterweight division is a grudge match for Colby Covington. But the fight that he wants, aside from the welterweight title fight, is a fight between Colby Covington and Jorge Masvidal. So Covington's future is very clear. There's basically three people that he can, should, and will likely fight. But what about Tyron Woodley? Dana White made it pretty clear that he thinks it's time for Woodley to consider retiring. It is now 3 straight losses for the former welterweight champ, of which he's won a grand total of 0 out of 15 rounds. It seems like he's unwilling to pull the trigger, although that has been a criticism of Woodley throughout his career. I think we're letting performances over Carlos Condit, Robbie Lawler, and Darren Till sort of cloud the memory of that Rory McDonald fight. You know, Woodley is one of these guys, it seems, who's either tremendously explosive or has trouble letting his hands loose. But it's clear to say that this is the worst he's ever looked. Not only is this the first losing streak, but he just can't win a fight at this point, or even a round. I wouldn't be surprised if T-Wood wraps it up. He's got a good thing going with TMZ. He has his rap career. He's, you know, he has his little footprint in Hollywood, and that's something that he could probably expand on should he choose to close this chapter of his career. If not, however, I was looking through the rankings as to who Tyron Woodley could fight next. It is very, very clear that you got to get him away from these top guys, these title contenders. T-Wood is not at that level right now. 2 fights that stuck out. One would be number 8 against Michael Chiesa, although I think you might run into similar problems where Chiesa puts on a lot of forward pressure, takes it to the ground, and grinds out a decision. The other, a more fan-friendly fight, would be against the always entertaining 10th ranked welterweight Vicente Luque, who, after a big win over Niko Price, he deserves to be given a shot at the top 5 again. He fell short to Wonderboy Thompson at UFC 244, but Wonderboy is a tough fight for everyone, and I think it'd be really interesting to see where both Tyron Woodley and Vicente Luque are at these respective stages in their career. Now, moving on to the co-main event fight, Donald Cowboy Cerrone and Niko Price fought to a majority draw. It would have been a win for Niko Price, 2-1. However, Niko managed to poke Cerrone in the eyes twice in the first round, both of which he was tremendously and audibly apologetic for, but referee Jason Herzog deducted him a point. That round ended 9-9, and it seems that at least one judge believed that Donald Cerrone took the other 2 rounds. I had rounds 2 and 3 for Price. It's fair to call it a 1-1. So I had actually predicted going into the judges' scorecards that it was probably going to be either a majority decision or a majority draw. It turned out to be the latter. Cerrone was really disappointed, even though he's the one who benefited from the point deduction and the overall result. Niko Price was ecstatic. Like, he was so thrilled. But Niko Price is just that sort of character. He said, you know what, at least it's not an L, and he has so much tremendous respect for Cowboy, and both men said they are interested in running back, and Price was shooting for it to be a fight night main event. I am down to see it. Price put on a whole lot of pressure on Cowboy, but to Cerrone's credit, he did not wilt, and coming into the second and third rounds, he was able to match Price's pace a lot more closely. I think a second fight continues to go in Price's direction. I don't see Cowboy improving a whole lot from that first fight, but it was competitive. It was very exciting to watch, and if they want to run it back, you're not going to hear me complaining. I did have one other fight that I thought would be really cool. Anthony Pettis has a win over Donald Cerrone recently, although a lot of people had scored that fight for Cowboy. I think a match between Anthony Pettis and Niko Price would be bomb. So if for some reason this rematch doesn't materialize, I strongly suggest giving Price, who's just outside the top 15, a fight against Anthony Pettis for that number 14 spot. Man, Khamzat Chimaev lived up to expectations in a big way. You know, coming into this fight, I was saying the dude is beyond confident to the point of just like delusionally cocky. He's calling out every single person he sees at the press conference, from Kevin Holland to Donald Cerrone, who's sitting next to him. He's already looking at a fight with Damian Maia before even getting through Gerald Meerschaert. And man, if I thought he had a big head before the fight, that thing grew triple in size, because he knocked out Meerschaert with the first punch he threw less than 20 seconds into round one. The man spoke mad trash and he mad delivered, so nothing but props to Chimaev, and I think we should definitely book him against Damian Maia and see just where he's at. I know Damian Maia is clearly on the closing end of his career, but I think people have always underestimated him. Like, he's coming off of a loss to Burns, but Burns then beat Tyron Woodley and is now fighting for the welterweight title. Damian Maia has been one of these old guards, some man who's been able to continue pushing forward jiu-jitsu in an MMA environment that is so much more well-rounded. He is himself, of course, cleaned up a lot of areas of his game, but he's still able to use jiu-jitsu extremely effectively in a modern age of MMA, and I think that is so interesting. I would love to see, like, Meerschaert is a crafty veteran, but Damian Maia is a crafty veteran world title challenger. So I'd be really, really interested to see where Chimaev is at against Maia. For Maia, it could be a really big little career boost for him, a great retirement fight if he chooses to wrap it up. And should he lose, it's a great passing of the torch moment to Chimaev as he continues to ascend oh so quick up the ladder. At the UFC Vegas 11 post-fight press conference, Dana White was saying, man, like, this kid is special. He may be the most special fighter I've ever seen. I've never seen anything like him. I don't know what to do with him. So that is tremendously, uniquely high praise from Dana White, and it's clear that if you just see the traffic and the numbers, the metrics that Chimaev pulls, he has clearly got a lot of people enchanted with what he brings to the cage. And so I'm excited, man. We could be very truly on the verge of something special. It hasn't been proven yet, but we're definitely headed in the right direction. Johnny Walker and Ryan Spann fought a fight in which both men were severely compromised. Johnny Walker was knocked down, he was stumbled, he was on shaky legs, but he got Ryan Spann hurt. He had Ryan Spann shooting for a really, really poor takedown, and Walker threw those Travis Brown elbows that ended the fight in round one. I know there was a lot of complaints coming from Ryan Spann's corner about perhaps elbows and back fists to the back of the head, but I think the correct ruling occurred. I think the referee made the right call, and I think Johnny Walker won that fight. I think he should fight Anthony Smith next. Anthony Smith doesn't seem to be in a great place. You know, he came off that really, really rough loss to Glover Teixeira, then lost a handed one-sided decision to Alexander Rakic. Johnny Walker, although he won this fight, he didn't look all that convincing. Like, he was rocked, he was dropped. This wasn't the Walker that had enchanted and mesmerized people with 3 straight first-round KOs in the UFC. This is a guy who made important adjustments coming off of back-to-back losses to Corey Anderson and to Nikita Krylov. He did what he had to do. It was an exciting fight. There's no doubt that Johnny Walker is must-see TV, but there isn't enough evidence coming off of this one fight to prove that he has like shored up all the holes in his game needed to make a true run at the top. So let's give him a former title challenger who looks to be on a rough stretch here. Let's do Johnny Walker versus Anthony Smith, and let's see where these two guys are at. And a quick shout out to tonight's bonus winners, Mackenzie Dern. First round submission win over Rando Marcos. For some reason, Rando was like, you know what's a good idea? I should follow a dry, fresh, aggressive Mackenzie Dern to the ground. Like, Mackenzie fell over, and Randa just ran into her guard. And from there, it was checkmate. Mackenzie had a really tight guard on her, would not let Randa up, threw up arm bars, threw up triangles, ended up sweeping, mounting, attempting an armbar, throwing some crazy hammer fists, and eventually got the armbar submission. Good job, Mackenzie Dern. Of course, like I said, 50K to Chimaev. First round KO, first punch knockout of Mearshart. The dude was out cold. Randy Costa, similarly, he threw a head kick about 40 seconds into round one that absolutely starched Journey Newson, sent the man to the negative zone. Randy Costa, good job, dude. And the final 50K Performance of the Night award went to Damon Jackson. Short notice replacement against Mirsad Bektic was hunting a really tight guillotine through rounds 1 and 2, but Bektic was able to get out of those, land in optimal positions, and throw down a lot of punches on Jackson. It was looking like a familiar pattern that was going to end in a decision. Jackson shoots the guillotine, Mirsad gets out, Mirsad controls the round, but in round 3, Damon Jackson got the guillotine choke from Mount. Way tighter position, way better leverage, and he got the tap, and there was definitely no love lost there. Shout out to Damon Jackson. And that is all for today's Fightful Fix. Let me know in the comments section, do you think that there should have been a Fight of the Night award, or were the 4 Performance of the Nights justified? Additionally, who would you like to see Covington fight next? Usman, Burns, Masvidal, or someone else you may have in mind. If you enjoyed this video, the best way you can help the channel grow is by hitting subscribe and tapping the notification bell, and a like on this video never hurts either. I'm Shaquille Majuri, and keep up for everything Fightful and oh so delightful.